1, so that's the important part. Now we're back. This is a total of 7.5. This is called auto-ionization. It's rated oxygen.
My skin is really taking a beating this week.
Water test kit. Hello everybody. Okay, so sorry I was MIA for a while there. A couple things happened. I got a head cold, and imagine that with all the supplements I take. I'm still trying to figure that one out. Second thing is I started my second course in the regenerative soil, and so that's been keeping me super busy because I was behind about 4 weeks, and it's a 20-week course, and so I had 4 weeks to catch up on. But I'm back, and I'm here to teach you about Bokashi living. This is a Bokashi bucket. Bokashi is Japanese for organic matter. That is fermented organic matter. So that's what that means. And we all know that the Japanese have some pretty good technology. So this bucket here, the idea of this bucket is to make a kitchen compost bucket. You can see the inside of this. It's got like a little lid to hold all the solids and so that the juices flow down below. But the other thing that this does is it allows you to pour off the fermented juice. You can either, if you're in an apartment and you don't have a yard to pour it in, you can actually just pour the fermented juice down the drain. And that fermented juice will actually help clean the drain because they're beneficial microbes that we're going to put in here through our Bokashi blend. And I'll explain everything about that, but I just kind of want to give you an overview of it first. So what we're going to do here is I have prepared a whole bunch of kitchen waste. There's a whole bunch of carrots and almond pulp, and I've ground it up because I want the microbes to be able to get more surface area. The smaller the pieces are ground, the better they're going to work. So I've got a mixture of carrots, celery, almond pulp, potatoes, whatnot in there. Then I've thawed some. When I was processing my peaches last summer, I thawed the waste. I froze the waste for my worms. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ferment it in this bucket so that I can extract the nutrients from it through the fermenting process. And then once I've extracted all my microbes and fermentation out of it, I'm going to be left over with a little bit of mass that's fermented and already halfway degraded, and the worms love that. So I was going to give this to the worms anyway. So now I'm going to ferment it, pull nutrients out, then give it to the worms, so I'm gaining two functions out of it. And then I'm going to add a little bit of hair, because for my daughter I want to show her that hair can compost, and the worms actually like hair because hair is just proteins. And then I'm going to put a little tiny bit of expired spirulina in there just because I like the diversity of the nutrients. You could probably eat this or feed it to your animals, but I'm just going to put a little bit because anything extra in here brings up the diversity. So, and then one other thing, I have some expired vitamin powders that I was drinking, and then I switched vitamin companies for one reason or another. But so now these are all expired, and I don't want to throw them away. They're just loaded with vitamins. So I'm going to put this scoop of it in there because it's really concentrated vitamins, and let it ferment in my compost because I'm trying to extract nutrients. So the instructions for the best thing that you do is you put your compost or your kitchen waste about 1 inch across the bottom. And then, so what I've done, here's the Bokashi blend. So let me talk a little bit about this Bokashi blend. So this Bokashi blend is made with like 4 or 5 different ingredients, and I'll do videos on how to make this, but essentially this is rice bran with worm castings, with different microbes. Well, not the worm castings. They actually pull the purple sulfur bacteria out of the worm castings and mix it with this. And there's other cultures in there, and then it's let to dry. It's supposed to stay in a dark area because light will actually burn the microbes. They'll actually deteriorate. We're going to do some videos on how to make, I want to bring up effective microorganisms. So effective microorganisms is the original start for how you make the Bokashi. I'm going to go through and make videos on how you make this Bokashi blend so that you can make it on your own. But I do want to bring some attention to EM stands for effective microorganisms. What the doctor that invented this, he figured out how to create these organisms, then he patented it. And then he gave it free to the world so that nobody could buy the patent and put it on their shelf so that we didn't get to see it. So very grateful for this doctor. So I'm going to teach you guys how to make this. The great thing is this is expensive. This is about 30 bucks. But you can make this on your own if you have one bottle and you have the ingredients because it cultures. They're live cultures in here. And so if you pour 2 ounces into another mixture, and I'll show you how to do that so that you can turn 2 ounces of this into 20 ounces of more stuff. You'll never have to buy it again. So that'll be coming up next. So what I've done is I've opened this bag. I put it in a reusable container for me. It was my Purium Power Shake. So the instructions are a scoop. When you put an inch of your waste scraps, then you sprinkle just 1 scoop of this Bokashi. So that right there is loaded. So to give you an idea, there's more microbes in there than there are people on the planet. There's about 10 billion microbes in this scoop. So I'm going to go ahead, put another layer. There's a whole carrot in there. So I got another layer in there, about 2 inches. You can't overdo this. It's just microbes. It'll eat it right up. So I put the wetter or the mass in the bottom because then I'm going to pour that juicy stuff in on top of it, and hopefully this will absorb some of that juice so that it doesn't all just run right down to the bottom and fill up. It's okay if it does that because the microbes are going to go down in there and still ferment all that juice. So I'm going to take 1 scoop of my zeal powder. Just put that. I'm going to put a couple scoops in there because it's right in the middle, and when I rinse it down, when I pour this other solution in there, so I'm going to kind of spread this around because the microbes won't be able to get in there if it's a big pile of wet. I mean, they will eventually. Okay, we're going to do 1 more scoop of Bokashi. Let's put the hair. She brushed our dogs and got the hair out of it, and because I was telling her that the hair is made out of proteins and amino acids. Worms actually love hair. It's soft for them. They can eat it. It's all right. So here's more of the peach juice from last year. So one thing that they mention is what we're trying to do with this is we're trying to create somewhat of a anaerobic area in here with the lid we're going to put on it. These microbes, they work very well in an anaerobic area, but you're probably wondering, anaerobic? I've always been teaching everybody to stay aerobic here. Well, that's a great observation. What we're doing here is we're creating both types. We're creating aerobic and anaerobic, and then they're going to work together and learn how to become facultative. So facultative microbes can become be aerobic or anaerobic depending on the situation. And so that's what I'm trying to breed here is facultative microbes. So I'm going to put another layer of Bokashi. This is going to be my final layer. I'm going to put all the way around the edges just to make sure that everything is completely covered. And then I'm going to put a little bit of spirulina just because I like variety and diversity. We don't need much. I just want some of the sea minerals and the phytochemicals that come with that. So now, and you can't do too much Bokashi, so I'm going to put a whole nother scoop in here. Oh, wait a minute. I got one more thing I want to put in. Expired hemp hearts. I don't want to eat them anymore. They're probably okay. And then one more big scoop of Bokashi. 2 scoops. Well, that's the wonderful thing about this is it's all natural, cultured. They didn't grow on their own, but so now that's completely covered on the top. And so now what my plan is here is this lid seals nice and tight. I'm not going to open this lid again for 3 weeks. They say 2 weeks, but I'm going to wait for 3 weeks because I want it to be completely done. They say in 3 weeks all that can be done. You could actually, this is so powerful that if you wanted to put meat, dairy, eggs, bones, things like that in here, it will actually compost it. You'll be able to ferment it to the point where you can actually pull the nutrients. I don't eat meat, so I don't have any to compost. But so this is all meat free, meat and egg free. So we're going to see how it goes.